Hi everyone, welcome back to GreyBeard Media. This is a follow-on video to the COP expansion bid I did quite a few months ago. One thing we didn't talk about on that video, and we'll touch upon it today, is the main thing we need for any future expansion really, not just the COP, the SKD stand, but also I'll just touch on what we did talk about on that COP expansion is next. We touched upon what needs to happen for any expansion to go ahead, and that is the obstacles like the pubs. One of the main obstacles, the road itself. We also touched upon the park over there, the church further on, and then you've got all those properties and boarded up built into the bottom there that we touched upon also. I will put a link in the video at the end of this one. But one thing we didn't touch upon, what is needed mostly for anything to happen at all, to be fair, on any future development of this ground here at Anfield, and that is the rail network. Big over 65,000 capacity, that network is needed. Now, I'm ruling out the tram line because are they really going to put all that in just for Liverpool? Probably not, no. I mean, all the roads around the city will have to be dug up, tram lines installed on the major roads. It ain't going to happen. At the rail network, a lot of the rail link is already in place. We're going to go round all the rail lines. We're going to get shown up also. We're going to check out the distance from those rail lines to Anfield. Most of them are just over a mile away, but there is one that is not even a mile, and we'll visit that one last. So without further ado, let's get the journey. And welcome back everyone, we are airborne. So this is a follow-on video to the COP expansion bid I did over 6 months ago, where we talked about is it possible to expand the COP, and we spoke about the obstacles in the way, like the church there, the park pub, the Albert, the road itself there, a couple of takeaway buildings over there in that little block, and of course these houses here that have been like boarded up for a decade or so, I would say. We talked about building over the road there. Of course it's possible, but the one thing we didn't talk about, what is needed for the whole of this ground. If it goes over 65,000 capacity, whether it's the SKD stand being expanded, if ever these houses ever become available down the line, or the COP itself, is the rail link. And that is what we're going to concentrate on today's video. Is it possible to link the many lines that surround in this ground and these lines all around within a mile or so, or just over? We're going to visit these lines, we're going to get the drone up, we're going to see exactly how far away they are from the ground. Is it possible to link any of them? I think it is, but it's going to cost, like everything. So without further ado, landed, we made it at Liverpool Lime Street, and even though for decades, maybe decades to come, Liverpool supporters from around the country are landing here in Lime Street, exiting and making their way to Anfield via coaches or taxis. Will we ever get a direct train link to Anfield Stadium from here? No, we're not. Not from Lime Street. Really, we're at the wrong station, aren't we? Yeah, Liverpool Lime Street will play its part and continuing to bring the supporters into Liverpool from around the country. But if there is ever a train link to Anfield, maybe we should go to the other station which should play its part. Liverpool Central. Let's head over there now. Have a look at the situation from Liverpool Central, because this is the station that will link the smaller stations to Anfield. Stations like Sandhills in Kirkdale. We'll head over there later. So just outside Liverpool Central, a station that could play its part in the future if a rail link is ever finally sorted for Anfield, so that any future expansions can finally happen. Liverpool Central, which will link supporters to the ground via Sandhills, maybe Kirkdale. We're going to go there next. We're going to get the drone up as well and just see exactly how far Anfield is from these stations, because this is the likely route where the train lines are already in place. Yeah, extra track will be needed, but we're going to have a look at the obstacles in the way as well while we're there. Let's have a look in Liverpool Central and then make our way across the Sandhills. So the next stop for me is Sandhills, so this is where we'll fly. This is where we'll get kind of picture of what job ahead is needed to link Anfield to the rail network, preferably at the closest points possible. Just left Moorfields, Sandhills next.
We are now approaching Sandhills.
So we've just left Sandhills train station, and you might not saw Anfield in the background that clearly, but it is only like 1.2 mile away, 1.23 mile away, not that far really. So is it possible to link Sandhills to Anfield Stadium? We're going to get the drone up. We're going to have a look at the obstacles in place. Can it be done? There are other train lines near Anfield, even closer, but one is not in use, but we are going to visit later, hopefully. I think it's time. Let's get the drone up. Welcome back everyone, we are airborne again, overlooking Sandhills train station. Could this be the destination for Liverpool fans in the future if the rail network is connected to Anfield Stadium? It's only a small little station. It's been here since 1850. That's how old it is, 175 years old. As another train departs. So where is Anfield from here? There is Anfield, 1.3 mile away. So is it possible to get a train link from here to Sandhills? It's a lot of built up area, so it's going to use a lot of train track. It's going to be impossible to go straight through there, isn't it? You're going to have to go round. There's Goodison over there, but there's also a train line going pretty much round, curved all the way round. And that's going to be a line we're going to concentrate in a while. It is possible, but it's going to be very, very expensive to get a train line from Sandhills directly to Anfield. But something needs to be done if we want to expand anymore. It doesn't look that far, does it? 1.3 mile. So let's carry on to Kirkdale, see if it's possible from there. Onwards we go. Left Kirkdale platform. Going to launch a drone in a while. This is what it's looking like. Nice little station, to be fair. It's 165 years old. We're going to fly. We're going to have a look at how far Anfield is. It's like 1.4 mile away from here. But it is possible to link a train line from Anfield, but I think it's going to be further that way. There's a lot of open area behind Stanley Park, the Anfield Cemetery, so I think it's more possible to link the line there. So fans coming through Sandhills, Kirkdale, this might be your best bet to get to Anfield Stadium if we ever get that link there, but that I think will be the best place to put that line. We will fly here, but I think it's going to be very, very built up. But you will see from the air, I think, where the open areas are, where the best place is to put that line in to connect Anfield to the rail network. So without further ado, let's get that drone up, let's fly. And we're airborne again over Kirkdale Station. Just pan across. You see a lot of the Mersey rail trains parked up. And we're going to turn the drone round so we can see Anfield behind me. So as the drone spins around, and there's Anfield, 1.25 miles away. So is it possible to get a link, train line from here to there? Obviously there's a lot of area built up, it ain't going to go across there, but where there's a lot of open area, it's where Stanley Park is, and of course the cemetery. That is the kind of area where you're going to be looking for the train line in, to maybe curve it round onto this continuation of this line here, where Kirkdale Station is. Obviously the next station's down, you're going towards Ormskirk. I mean, these are kind of routes where the fans are going to be travelling down. It's whatever it is, it's going to be very costly to do, and under the current owners it's not going to happen, but we need it to happen so that Anfield can expand in the future, so we can finish off this ground and have 4 fantastic stands. It can't stay with just the main stand in Anfield Road. We need the others doing, but it can't be done without a network in place. You can see all the greenery there, Stanley Park. Then you've got Anfield Cemetery behind it. There's a lot of open area there, plenty of room for a train line. It is possible, I know it is. So more investment with new owners is the way forward. You can see all the open area there, plenty for a train link. For Kirkdale, Sandhills,
max altitude reached,
could definitely play its part. There's plenty of area there to run a line without any obstacles. Like I said, it's the other side of Goodison. But that is the way forward, I think, to run that line. And we're going to go there soon. As we see the main stands, Anfield Road there. So we visited a couple of the stations along the way. Liverpool Central, Lime Street, Sandhills, Kirkdale, all could play a part as you pan across, but the line, I should think, should come from behind Anfield Road and reach out towards the cemetery and go round it if possible, and somehow link onto this line here that's running towards Kirkdale, Sandhills. And this is where you will come, if you're coming around the country into Lime Street, you'll just walk across to Liverpool Central, jump on a train, Merseyrail, Sandhills, Kirkdale, or one just further down. You hopefully get a link to Anfield. That's what we want. We need it to happen. We need this stadium expanding more. When will it be? We don't know. If there's any possibility this club will be sold in the future, and not to Elon Musk. No, thank you very much. Liverpool will not be his plaything. We want owners who are going to be responsible. Yes, the American owners, they're a bit tight in the transfer market, but they've delivered 2 stands. They ain't going to deliver a network. LCC, I don't know what their plans are, if there's any at all. But we don't need that much track, to be honest, to run from Anfield Road stand around the back there, just dodging the main area of the cemetery and such. You got Priory Road as well, but you can easily put a crossing in over that road, and we'll talk about that a bit later in this video. But I've proven there's a lot of area there for a train line, a trail track, and you would only need like a mile or 2 max, I would say. Maybe 3 miles most of train line to link it to this main one here from Kirkdale, which is going all the way to Ormskirk. So without further ado, I think it's time, you know. It's time to get back to the stadium. So onwards we fly to Anfield. So we're back and we've landed by the main stand, and as you can see, when we went round all these little stations, platforms, tracks I built up, it was pretty much going to be impossible to get a link to any of those. But what holds the key for me in getting a line here at Anfield is out that way towards Stanley Park. The only open area we've got, and further beyond that, is obviously Anfield Cemetery. The only way around that is to build around that, but is there space to? We're going to go over there next to investigate, because that is the closest line. But for me, that is the only way to get a link in towards Anfield Stadium. It doesn't have to be right by the stadium, but it's got to be, in my opinion, somewhere based on Stanley Park. A little platform to drop fans on, take them away after the game. Yeah, we've got plenty of stations around where fans can get through, Sandhills, Kirkdale and such. So let's go and investigate this last train line. Not used for passengers, like I've said, but there's a lot about it that I can explain. Because this line that starts, well, it doesn't start, it goes through Tubrook all the way around the back of Anfield Road and continues right around towards Kirkdale again. But the line suddenly stops, and there's like a 250 metre gap where it starts again, and in that gap it's all built up area, so that's going to be problematic also. If there was a way round of joining that up, we could have trains coming from Kirkdale on that line this way and coming into Stanley Park, dropping fans off. That would, for me, that would be the easiest route, but we need to have a look at this track. If we can see through the fog as well, Anfield from that line, I'll get the drone up slightly, not too high, so I can keep an eye on the drone. But let's get over there, let's investigate this. We need a link to Anfield Stadium so we can carry on expanding the stadium. Otherwise we're going to be stuck for years and years and years and years while all our rivals are getting bigger. That ain't on. It's not on. Yeah, I just walked across Stanley Park and through Anfield Cemetery right to the back, and here's that other train line, the closest one yet to Anfield. Just make it out through all the I don't know if you can spot it, but there's a line. It's not in use this far down. It is in use further up towards Tube Brook and Newsham Park. You see trains going around that area all the time, but not passenger trains, unfortunately. But if we could link this to Kirkdale, it would be a very short journey. It's just linking this maybe to Stanley Park. And like I said, the only trouble is the cemetery behind me. If there's a way around it, great, but I think there's just all houses at each side. Even if you just raised the ground so the track can run along on top, but I'm just not sure if it's possible, you know. I need to get the drone off. And we are airborne at the last rail line nearest to Anfield, the one just beyond Stanley Park and Anfield Cemetery, and we'll scroll the camera around on the drone, and there's the final line that is coming all the way from Tube Brook, which is only like a 15-minute walk to Anfield, and then the line runs all the way down carry on moving the camera, and it goes all the way around, like I said, towards Kirkdale, but it does stop actually before it gets there. Sudden stop, and then there's no more track for like about 200 maybe meters around that area, and then in between the gap it's like all built up. So ideally what I would love is for that track to get joined somehow so we can run it into Kirkdale, and ideally try and get a link from this track, half a mile of track if possible, all the way around the outside of the cemetery to drop supporters off into Stanley Park. They can just walk to the ground. I think that would be allowed if we went over 65,000, but I just don't think there's enough space around the outskirts of this cemetery. Yeah, there's cars are allowed to drive through, but you can't put a train line through it. I mean, all this track is raised up, so if you could raise it up on the flatter ground around the outside, I don't think the locals would enjoy having a train line next to them. But as you can see around the outskirts of the cemetery, there's just no space, and just houses straight across the other side. So if there's an open area further down, we can run the line through, but I don't think there is that way. This is the only open area behind Anfield Road, and unfortunately part of it is a cemetery. So is it possible to run a line obviously into Stanley Park, but from this side, which is probably less obstacles, less built up as well, as we're looking towards Tube Brook area and the other surrounding little towns? It's possible, I think, from this area, but that is the only way I believe. So it'd be great to hear your thoughts on this subject. We need that line, otherwise we'll never be able to go over 65,000 capacity here at Anfield. We decided to stay. We built 2 new stands. They were fantastic. Yeah, one is having a few problems at the moment. If we want to stick with the Man Cities, the Manchester United who are thinking about building a new ground, Barcelona just building their new ground, are we going to be stuck in limbo if we can't build Anfield any bigger? Are we going to be stuck? Because we are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and we need to be competing on the stadium front also. As I zoom back out, one last look how close this track is. Very close. It's just in touching distance. And I'd just love to get the line connecting it, and then maybe run a special service from Kirkdale to Anfield on match days. That would be my dream. Is it possible? We don't need that much track. It's just the obstacle in between. As the fog is finally starting to lift at Anfield. I'll leave that over to you now for your comments. Is it possible to build around the cemetery, or do we have to build a track further down, just where it's not as built up? Over on the right where Sandhills in Kirkdale is, it's just too much obstacles. But maybe the answer is over towards the Tubrook area, where it's not as built up. So I'll hand it over to you now. We visited all the tracks around Anfield. Anfield needs this more than anything, so we can carry on expanding in the future. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe all. We'll end with Anfield in the shot. The glorious stadium that just needs to be bigger now. Bye for now all. Wherever you are in the world, enjoy the rest of your day or night.